Juan, welcome back to the DGD podcast. Before we even get started with today's show, just letting you know, Kirby Smart lets out that Go Dogs tweet in none other than four-star cornerback Justin Rhett out of Bishop Gorman in Nevada. Look, probably committed about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. Hot news right now. Obviously, coming off of he was at G Day, decommitted while at G Day, and now a week later, my man commits to the Dogs for the 23 class. There's a lot to go about this kid. 6'1", about 200, right? Fits that prototypical what Kirby and what Coach Muschamp want at DB, and really, really solid kid. Obviously joining other Marcus Washington, right? The other cornerback in this class. Juan, what are your thoughts on this commitment? I know it kind of shocked a lot of us, but we'll go ahead and get started with that being said.
Oh
Welcome to
yeah,
the DG podcast, folks.
yes sir. Hey, Notre Dame has to be sick right now, to lose such a great player. But after going and seeing G Day, um, what you saw was a lot of cornerbacks getting tried, and there was a lot of passes that were completed. So if I'm a cornerback, I'm looking like, man, this is probably going to be a place that I'm going to go and maybe make an impact pretty early. And to be a part of this great defense and then the atmosphere, that's the biggest is being a part of this atmosphere. They have to be excited about that.
Oh, no doubt. Obviously today's show we're going to talk about the NFL draft upcoming this week. But while we're here, right, let's talk a little bit about G Day. Right, we didn't talk about G Day last week. There was an interview that took place on our Friday show. Listen, there was a lot to take in over the weekend. Right, you have a whole week to process what Georgia's G Day, what it looked like. Also got to watch our week one opponent, Oregon. Definitely got to see that. So there's a couple names to know from that, which we'll save for a later time on that one because let things marinate, come down off of this spring practice high. Uh, but first, before we do this, I want to talk about G Day. But first, listen, this show reaches out to more than just Georgia fans. So if you're an Oklahoma fan, listen. I understand Lincoln Riley treated you like an ex-girlfriend. Just it was stupid what he did, but get over it. You have Brent Venables. We know you're excited. 75,000 spring game attendance. It's awesome, but that should not highlight your spring game. It should not. Don't let that fool you. They're going to be physical on defense. We know that. It's something that Oklahoma's not used to. But stop with the USC stuff. Please, 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 please stop. Just stop. Anyways, moving back to G Day. Juan, what were your thoughts on G Day, man? What were your thoughts on G Day?
I'm an offensive guy. I love the offense. I love the explosion. They're throwing the ball down the field. You got Beck on his first drive, with a 60-yard bomb. Those are things that get receivers excited. Those are the things that, hey, if you're going to bring in some top tier receivers, those are the types of things that you want to see. The tight ends did a great job. Oscar Delp had a great showing. And man, what about Eric Gilbert? Good gracious, man, he looked like an absolute monster. So those are the things. The running backs ran well. The offense looked pretty explosive, and we were missing a lot of key guys offensively, or they were split up and they were on different teams. So imagine what that's going to look like when you just have a whole group that goes out there. Those defensive opponents need to be very, very sure.
Absolutely. And as Juan describes his experience over G Day, I do want to give a shout out to our brigade because they came in hot. Boy, they
Yes,
came in
they
hot.
are.
We'll do a
A
little
lot
bit
of
of a
shout
roll call.
outs.
A lot of shout outs. We're going to call in a little bit of roll call, folks. Patrick Oliver, Bishop Don, Joel Sanders, Miriam Corbin, Tanil, Rudes. And yeah, listen, guys, coming in hot. Listen, feel free to drop in comments, give us your thoughts, G Day, everything like this. Already seeing that Tanil saying that. Tanil saying that USC Oklahoma feud is hilarious, and also saying hey to Roots. Listen, I'm telling you, man, it's unwarranted though. Like for the first few weeks, it's okay. We understand. After that, you've had a chance to settle down. Don't worry about your ex, right? Worry about your future girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other. shall you say, and move on. And listen, it's a bright future in Oklahoma, man. It really is. But nonetheless, Juan, you talked about the injuries at G Day, right? The fact that Rick Gilbert only caught what 3 passes for 2 touchdowns. Oscar Delp had himself a day. Mama Delp called it just right, right? Without Brock, without Darnell, it's mind-boggling, right? And on the defensive side, you saw a lot of youth, right? And we saw that at times, right? Especially pass rush. You saw a lot of guys getting feel for themselves, right? I'm telling you right now, you heard it today, April 25th. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins is going to have a breakout year this year because what I saw is the ability to sit here, create separation, shed blocks, and disrupt passing lanes. And that's not a sack, that's not a quarterback pressure, but that right there can be an incompletion on a third down to get your defense off the field. Just saying that right there. And Jalen Carter, as expected, simple enough. Simple enough.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. I see Rudes here asked a question. Well, he said I didn't get to see anything from G Day, anything new from an offensive standpoint from Coach. What I saw again is just the utilization of the tight ends that they did, but a lot of plays to the backside of the backfield. Something that I loved. Wheel route. You have an angle route. One of the angle routes was open. The guy just dropped the ball, but that was a sure touchdown. But actually, just throwing the ball down the field is something that I loved seeing. And then, of course, you've got Eric Gilbert going down the middle of the field on those posts. And even though he had, you say 3 catches, 2 for touchdowns, he also had 2 big time pass interference calls that, you have to interfere to keep him from catching the football. But utilizing that is just something that we didn't necessarily see a lot of last year. And then again, just the running game, the offensive line actually stepped up and did a pretty good job. And then now, I'm looking at it from a standpoint of Mims has to come in and work and fight to get his position back. So that's going to be an internal battle that's going to be pretty good. That's only going to make this team that much better.
Oh, no doubt. You look at the backs, right? It was an emphasis to get James Cook and Zamir was just a pleasant surprise last season. But moving forward to this season, right? Listen, I am pleasantly surprised to see the touch on those passes to Kendall, Kenny, right? We expect Kenny McIntosh to receive, be a better receiver, you would think. But Kendall showed exactly why he's that dual threat guy that's probably going to, week 1, starting on the offense, you'll probably see that first hope go to Kendall Milton. And that's not a knock to Kenny. We know it's going to rotate in. But it was a pleasant surprise to see that touch and then obviously his ability to utilize this physicality on the same play, right, basically in synchronization. It was beautiful to see. And then defense, right? You take it with a dual-edged sword here, right? You see those backs, right? Kendall, Kenny getting open in space, right? First, I think like the third throw, Stetson throws bomb to Kenny McIntosh for a good gain. You worry about the linebackers and that youth, right? And that's expected, and that's okay. They're going to grow. They're going to be better. But if I'm an offensive guy, right? You're an offensive guy. Show me a linebacking core that's going to be able to cover that. Not having to worry about the tight ends as well. That's a problem and an offensive problem that's great because you've got too many weapons. So if you want to sit there and throw the wheel route and have a 12 personnel too tight, right? Sit there and force those linebackers to have to figure if you want the tight end or you want the running back. Perfect problem to have. And that's what we're going to see more of this year.
Yeah, you're right. You see, Patrick said, Juan, if the defense does their job, we're going to get a 63-3 this year, calling it now. Absolutely. And that's just something that Patrick and I have been looking forward to, is just to have that 63-3. And I'm hoping it's against an Oregon. That would be wonderful. That would be absolutely awesome.
I'll tell you this. I don't see it happening against Oregon, one, but I will do this. I'm going to say Samford, right? Second week, 63-3. I'll go ahead and call it now just for Patrick's sake, because I'll tell you why. The balance and depth on our offense is going to be key there, right? But also tell me why Kirby deep down is going to sit there and show Florida just exactly how to put away a fucking opponent. That's what I'm going to say right there.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. But he's going to show you how to put away an opponent, because if you don't remember, you Gator fans had a hard time. You scored 70 points in your swamp, and you only won by 18 against Samford last year. Keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So we'll do a shout out here as well. Big shout out to Miriam says, big shout out to Terrence Edwards. Coached up Eric and stood by him. As a Marietta High alum like Eric, I'm really happy for him. He's going to be amazing. And Miriam, I agree with you. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, Now the question is, how does Todd Monken use Eric? Right? Do you use 13 personnel and exploit him that way, or do you rotate him in at 12 personnel? Who knows? Right? Do you see him? If our receivers are struggling, right, and he gets in game shape, do you move him back out? There's a lot of questions, and there's a lot of football left before our actual game one, practice wise. Food for thought, though. Food for thought. Juan, let's go ahead and jump into this, man. Actually, no, we're not. Look at it coming in hot with these comments, man. I love it. Miriam also says she hopes we see 14 personnel set this year. How fun would that be? Juan, I'll let you start on that. Talk to us through this 14 personnel.
Man, that would be outstanding because defensively, what can you do to try to defend that? If you have your regular 4-3, regular, personnel, sometimes nickel, you're going to get the ball ran completely down your throat with all those tight ends out there blocking. And then if you try to bring in a bigger personnel set to try to defend that, you've got guys like Brock Bowers, you got Oscar Delp, you've got Darnell, you also have Eric. Linebackers and strong safeties are not going to be able to cover those guys. Right now, Eric is developing himself to be kind of like the next Pittman that Florida had. So what do? That's a difficult situation. I mean, it's almost so like Monken has so many toys to play with. Then you've got your receivers, you got your speedy receivers, you got your backs out of the backfield that's catching the ball. So Monken right now is just kind of like a kid in a toy store. So many things to do, so many things and as a defensive coordinator, what in the world are you going to do to prepare for it? Especially if they go no huddle.
Oh my God. And Miriam, I'm kind of with Miriam here to an extent. There's nothing you can do. I say that with one thing, and hear me out on this. There's only one thing you can do. That's get to the quarterback and make sure that he doesn't get the ball off. Good luck with that offensive line is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, and then Roots is keep away ball like middle school with the tallest kids on the field with Eric. I love it. I absolutely love it.
I'm bigger than you. You know it.
Right.
So obviously, listen, there's a lot to look forward to, current team and everything like that. But we're going to take a trip back to last year and what's about to take place this week. And like I said, this is the topic for the day. We're prepping for the NFL draft, obviously starting Thursday with night 1, 2, and 3, rounds 2 and 3 on Friday, and then finishing out on Saturday. So what we'll do now, Juan, we'll go ahead and start with our round 1 predictions for where our dogs are going to go, okay? Looking at Trayvon Walker is now the favorite to land at the number 1 overall spot. Ain't that something? For a guy that was used all over the place, didn't have the stats that people, glamour over, just the ability to do everything, could possibly go number 1 overall. First off, before we give our predictions to where we think these guys are going to go, what are your thoughts on Trayvon and actually all these other dogs that are getting drafted or that have the potential to get drafted, let's just say, because it hasn't happened yet? What are your takeaways on that before we even do this prediction?
It really just goes to show how good this football team really was, how good this defense really was. I mean, it was one of the top all time. And so if you look at it, so I had the opportunity to listen to Kirby talk at a Gwinnett County function. And what he said, the difference between this defense and the other defenses that he's had before was the evolution of the offense. So right now, you've got spread guys running all over the place. You've got all different types of different offenses. When Kirby was with the Alabamas and the LSUs back in the day, it's a lot of I formation, a lot of power football, especially in the SEC. But now when you've got these guys spread out, you've got people all over the place, and to see what this defense was able to do was unbelievable. And that's a great transition into the NFL. So they're looking like, man, if they could do this in the SEC, win a national championship against a very good Alabama team, and all these teams that they played were not slouches. These were not your Mary Persons or these Ionas of the world. They were top tier teams, and so for them to actually do what they were able to do transitions perfect into the NFL.
Yeah, I'm looking at it this right here. The stigma that Georgia can't produce D linemen. Right, we've heard this for the past few years easily. Right, you see Bama D linemen going and everything like that. That shit's about to get put to bed really fast. Watch. With that being said, we're going to transition into this. All right, so I think me and Juan both agree here that Trayvon Walker is going to be your top dog off the board. Juan, I'm going to let you start, and you predicted that he goes to the Texans at pick 3. Tell us why you feel that he goes to the Texans at 3.
Well, I mean, it only makes sense. I mean, if you sit there and look at the Texans, I mean, they've gone above and beyond to draft those defensive guys. The Texans need defense right now, especially losing out on their quarterback who ended up leaving. So they're looking to shore up that defense, and it just seems like the most perfect fit for Walker to go. I don't see him going first, unfortunately, although I think he deserves to, but I just see him kind of fall into number 3, which is actually a lot higher than we actually felt he would go even before the season started. So he's in a really, really good place.
Call me a homer, but it's not too far of a stretch at all, right? I've been thinking on this for several days now, and I have him going to the – where y'all think I'm going? I had to go there. He's going number 1 overall. I'll tell you why. I had to keep you guessing. He's going to the Jacksonville Jaguars because Aiden Hutchinson can't be the number 1 guy. He was supposed to be, but when you get neutralized by Jamari Sawyer, which is projected to be a 3rd-round tackle, what does that look like if you're a team in need of a franchise-changing talent? Also, Trayvon can do everything. He can fit multiple schemes. He can do it all, right? We saw him cover kickoffs as a freshman at near 300 pounds. We saw him cover Tank Bigsby out of the backfield, obviously one of the best running backs in the country. We saw him rush the passer. We saw him drop back into coverage. Florida Gators know what we're talking about. We saw Bo Nix creating Bo Nix nightmares, right? Boogeyman for Bo Nix, right? I'm telling you right now, Georgia showed his versatility in all aspects of the game, defense and special teams. If you're a franchise and you need a changer, an impact player, you bank on his potential and his ceiling. His upside is limitless, in my opinion. Right, 4.5 at a 4.5. That's receiver speed, and he's at 270 pounds. Do we need to go back to Bama and remember him chasing down a Jai Hall, saving a touchdown? Do I have to show you? I'm not going to, but remember that in your head. Okay, 272 pounds, moving at 4.5. 4.5 speed is predator like, right? It's predator like. He's going number 1 overall. If I'm the Cons, I'm picking him overall. Number 1. Boom. Simple as that. Next dog that we talk about, I'll hop in on this one. I have Jordan Davis coming off next, and I'll tell you a crazy spot that I think you'll fit really well in. And that's the Ravens. It's not my perfect fit. It's not the perfect fit. The perfect fit is 17 at the Chargers. But if you look at the Ravens, right, you've got Calais Campbell, bona fide star. You've got a sound defense, run by Patrick Queen, linebackers good to go, right? Think about what Jordan Davis did when you have elite linebackers this past year. He eats bodies. He eats space. That's going to allow Patrick Queen to sit there and run and fill gaps, right? AFC North full of running backs. Hey guys, there's a dog in the AFC North, and I think his name is what? Yeah, that's right, Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb running between the tackles, right? Get somebody that's going to stop the run and allow you to sit there and rush the passer. You've got Deshaun Watson there. You know, Lamar Jackson's obviously you ain't going to worry about that, but obviously Cleveland is going to be a problem with it now when you got Deshaun Watson. You got Pittsburgh's figuring out their quarterback situation. Cincinnati, that's all right. Joe Burrow, right? Get to the running back, get to the quarterback. And I'm telling you right now, he slimmed down to 341 pounds and ran a 4.78. His combine showed me that he is a 3-down back. Or not a 3-down back. Wow. There you go. Let me make it run like a back. 3-down defensive lineman. Okay? He played 2 downs at Georgia. When you're in 3rd and long, put an extra pass rusher in. I get it. Him slimming down to 340 is going to get and probably playing into 330s. That's going to keep him on the field for 3 downs. That's why he's going to be an excellent fit at 14 for Baltimore. Juan, where do you have him going?
Jordan Davis, I have him going to Pittsburgh. I have him going to Pittsburgh. I see that as a better fit for them. Pittsburgh needs to get back to what Pittsburgh does, and that's just play physical defense. So if you sit there and think about it, those Pittsburgh, Baltimore Ravens, that's all they did was, it was a smash mouth football game, but it was more aimed towards the defense. I see this being a better fit for Jordan Davis. And again, we had one of our top dogs be an all-time leading receiver at Pittsburgh, Hines Ward. So why not just kind of continue that tradition and have Jordan Davis actually just go up there and make a huge impact, for Pittsburgh.
Listen, and when you look at the pro day, right? When you look at Georgia's pro day, obviously every team was there in attendance. Tomlin was on board for Davis, right? He was on board for Jordan Davis. He was loving him some Jordan Davis. Now, my question to you is, right, if you're looking at the Chargers at 17, do you sit there and try to trade up, right? Trade up to jump 17. Maybe maybe it's the Eagles or whatever because they're multiple picks. Do you sit there and take that risk to maybe jump 17 in the Chargers and pick them up if you're Mike Tomlin and the GM in Pittsburgh? Do you do that?
No, I sit there. I'll wait for him. I don't think anybody else is going to jump up and grab them just based off of their team needs. But Jordan Davis is going to be a perfect fit for Pittsburgh, and I don't think that they have anything to worry about.
Look at you. All right, Juan. Our next linebacker that I have at least coming off, excuse me, and that's Nicoby Dean to the Eagles. All right. You look at the quarterbacks and the running backs there in the NFC East. Him in Philly would fit well, right? And there's a lot of talk about Nicoby Dean being undersized. Look, show me the tape, right? There was an undersized linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, coming into the 2001 draft, I think it was, coming out of Miami. In that era, right? For the Ravens. Yeah, turns out to be one of the greatest linebackers of all time. All right. And one of the things was his passion, his intensity, and his instincts, right? Those three right there basically encapsulated Ray Lewis to be one of the greatest linebackers of all time. And I'm not comparing Nicoby Dean to that. I'm just telling you that sometimes size doesn't always matter. When you have the instincts that Nicoby Dean has and he possesses, and you pair that with his ability to run the ball sideline to sideline, that matters, especially in today. So I say the Eagles get a steal there with one of their first round picks, one of their first two first round picks. They're going to get a steal. One, you have Nicoby Dean behind that, and where do you have him going to?
I have him going to the Bucs. I have him going to Tampa Bay. Unfortunately for Nicoby, he wasn't able to perform and do a lot of things at the combine. So, kind of helped, actually, made him drop a little bit. But what you notice about Nicoby Dean is his leadership ability. So the entire Georgia defense listened to him. He had that type of leadership. He had that type of command over the number one defense in the nation, which was the number one team in the nation at the end of the day. Who does that kind of remind you of if you were to look at a team leader offensively that happens to play with the Tampa Bay Bucks? And that's going to be Tom Brady. So Tom Brady has complete control over that offense. I could see Nicoby Dean coming in with his leadership style and having complete control over that defense. And honestly, he's kind of a Bruce Arians type guy, even though Bruce is not going to be there. But again, he just kind of fits the system. And I think that he's going to be a perfect pick for the Bucks at 27.
I'll tell you what, Rude's brought up the combination pairing of Nicoby Dean and Devin White. Yes, sir. yes, sir.
Indeed.
Look, that would be some.
Yes, indeed.
Now, I'll tell you what. If obviously this is where we think we'll go, right? Now, obviously we're not trying to do perfect fits. This is more so where we think they'll go. My perfect fit for Nicoby Dean, one of two. I can see him both ways. I see 21 with the Patriots, and I see 24 with the Cowboys. Just dirty, and I think I have to give a 1A, 1B. I'm gonna go give it to the Cowboys. I'll tell you why. Micah Parsons, if you pair him with Nicoby Dean, it's over. You're going to sit there and allow him to fill gaps and be that field general that they need, right? Leighton Vander Esch is a great talent, but he's just not it, right? Injury-wise, things like that, and that's stuff you can't really predict. But get yourself into Nicoby Dean, and he'll be able to sit there and I think he'll be able to tap that potential for Micah. We already saw he's a rookie of the year last year. Just imagine what you do with a field general that's be able to sit there and bring out the best in everybody, right? Listen, we saw what happened in the national title game. Nicoby Dean got on to Channing Tindall like nobody's business. It's like you and your mom, when you get into you do something wrong and your mom gets on to you real bad, right? And then you go out and you do better just to prove your point. Nah, it was like that all season. But that's the one that I remember is him getting scalded, right? Like, been in that situation before. But he brings out the best in him because guess what? Next play, sack on third down. And you know what I mean? That right there, that leadership, obviously the Blake Corum rundown from sideline to sideline, that play right there shows you sideline to sideline speed. It shows you coverage. His tape shows you everything you need if you're a team looking for a first-round linebacker. And listen, you've got Devin Lloyd over in Utah, and in his own right, great linebacker. But in my opinion, I think you might see Devin Lloyd actually have hurt his stock just a slight bit because of him running the 40. 4.7 speed doesn't look that great. Nicoby doesn't touch the field, doesn't touch a 40. But you turn on the tape, forces you to turn on the tape. Mm-hmm. And then that's when your instincts, that's when your speed, your sideline to sideline, that's where everything is just wide open, right? Before we go on to the next one, if you don't remember this play, do yourself a favor and go back and watch it. Kentucky game, right? Roll out, Will Levis rolls out, turns around and throws it back to the running back that slipped out to the back with a screen. Guess who's the only Georgia defender there for that? Can you tell me one? Who was that?
Nicoby Dean.
Yep, broke up for a tackle for loss and stopped the touchdown because that was an absolute walk-in.
Yeah.
Absolute walk-in. That's instincts, my man. That's instincts, okay? Turn that tape on. That's why he's going in the first round. That's why I got him going to the Eagles, and you've got him going to the Bucks. But here we go with our next pick. Ready for this, guys? I'll let you go. I'll let you go with this one. Devontae Wyatt. Where you got him going?
I got him going 15 to the Eagles. I got him going 15 to the Eagles. Listen, the Eagles, they have a great team. They are great offensively. You've got a great leader in their quarterback. And you've got Devontae Smith as a receiver. You've got great running backs. They just needed that missing piece on defense. And I can see Wyatt just coming in there, filling that in right now, making an impact very, very quickly. And if they can and just have just a couple of moving parts here on defense, you can actually see them going and challenging for a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, no, and his three down ability, right? His three down pass rush and run combination, his ability, he will go high in the draft, guys. He will not slip and fall like you would think. If he does, it's because teams either traded up or just something happened. All right, something happened. I've got him going in the top 20, and I've got him going to the Saints. And if you're a Falcon fan, you're going to hate me for this, and I understand. I understand. But in the NFC South, you have Tom Brady, and then you have I don't even know who. You got Jameis Winston as your quarterback. Could do better. Carolina, they'll probably draft a quarterback at 6. That's the sad part. And then the Falcons, well, you got Mariota, and they'll probably, in my opinion, be tanking for next year to try to get Bryce. Just saying. Listen, if you're the Saints, you have to feel confident that you're the second best team in the NFC South. So get yourself a 3-down defensive lineman that can both pass, rush, and run block, right? And listen, I understand people might knock him for being another guy, right, beside of Jordan Davis in the run game. He did just fine on his own, right? He did just fine on his own. There were several times that he got one-on-one situations. Boom, right? He's going to play the 3-tech in the NFL, in my opinion. He plays 3-tech in the NFL. If you slide him over the edge, he's going to give some fits. But give me interior 3-tech, he's going to be an absolute problem for guards in the NFL. Just saying. Because he's also, you don't realize it, but like Jordan Davis makes him look so small. He is not a small man. And he's actually got pretty decently long arms, right? Give me those arms against those arms against an NFL guard. It's guards typically fall in because of their arm length or size or athleticism. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare waiting to happen, especially in the NFC South, because you bolster your defense with Cam Jordan. You that's another pass. That's another defender to go with the defense that they got. I'd be nervous if I was the NFC South offensive lineman because we know they ain't that good to begin with outside of Tampa Bay. My man will eat as a rookie.
He's going to be good. He's going to be good.
If he goes to the NFC South, right? Listen, my perfect fit for him though. Give me the Bills. If he were to slide, give me the Bills. Cold weather. Listen, everybody knows that AFC Championship game between the Bills and the Chiefs, all the Bills needed was a defender.
That's it.
Somebody to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
And it's over. It's over. If he falls out of the top 20, watch the Bills move up. Bills will move. I feel like they can move up because they need that interior defender. Move up to pick him, right? Because if he falls out of 20, you don't want him to go to the Patriots. That's for damn sure. Even though I think they'll go receiver, nonetheless, right? And you don't know what the Packers could do, right? Packers could piss Aaron Rodgers off even more and pick another non-skill player like they've been doing since 2002, right? But neither here nor there. My next pick. And hear me out on this. Give me George Pickens, surprise first-round pick to the Packers with their second first-round pick. That would be some insane shit. That's all I'm gonna say. If he goes there, right? Because you look at Aaron Rodgers and he needs that help. Right? They let go of Devontae Adams. Right? Fair. I get it. You need to draft a receiver. This is the year from 2002. You need to stop that drought. Draft a receiver. You sit there, take an offensive lineman or something like that right there with your first pick because there's some good offensive linemen there. This is a deep class. But give me a George Pickens to Aaron Rodgers combination. That'd be pretty insane. It'd be pretty insane. Well, obviously I don't have him. I mean, he might fall to the second round, which I have him going to the second round, perhaps. Right? I think if he falls to the second round, it would not surprise me for the Falcons to try to get him, depending on what they do at 8. The Falcons, I'm saying Falcons fans that are listening, y'all would love that. But we'll stick with a bona fide first rounder. Juan, we both had this guy going to the same team, so I'm gonna let you start out with it, and that's Lewis Seen. Where did we have him going? This was
Uh, we had him going 30 to Kansas City, and I just think that this was a perfect place for him to go. And he's my sleeper. I know that Rude said that his sleeper was George Pickens, but this is my sleeper. And you just made the great point before. If Kansas City, even though they were victorious, they did win the game. If they had any type of defense to stop the Bills from making that such a wild classic game, it would have been a completely different story. I think Scene goes and makes a huge impact early. He's smart. He fills the gaps. I mean, he's not afraid to hit you, and he's just great all around. I think he was very, very underrated as a player, but I mean, he's a huge, huge asset to either Kansas City or if he goes to the Bills, it doesn't even matter. I mean, he's going to be that type of an impact player.
I'll tell you this: the Chiefs could possibly be losing out on Tyrann Mathieu. Great safety in his own right. Why not replace him with another safety that's 4.3 speed and can hit like nobody else in this draft class from a safety standpoint? Kyle Hamilton, long gone at this point. Long gone at this point. None other. Listen, and you might question his coverage ability, but with 4.3 speed, there's ground to make up, right? And listen, don't sit there and base your observation of Lewis Seen off of strictly Jameson Williams, because we all know that JMO's speed, you're not going to see that in the NFL every day,
World
right?
class. It's world class.
Yeah, it's world class. Now, I'm not saying that he's got to prepare better for that, right? We understand that, but his coverage will get better. And if you're playing under Andy Reid, right, you're going to get developed. You're going to get developed. If I'm Lewis Seen, I'm sitting there licking my chops and hoping that they call me for a top 30 visit, because if you go there, right, and hopefully they pick him. I'm worried that they pick Petrie, right, which is more of a local prospect out of Baylor. But give me Lewis Seen, because my man, we saw him lay some. Talk to Kyle Pitts. Talk to Kyle Pitts about some hitting. Right, we saw it. We saw it. I don't care if he threw the flag or not. That intimidates people. Juan, you're a former receiver. That intimidates people. That makes you second guess coming in. You hear footsteps. I have to believe that. Am I right, or am I wrong here?
Oh,
Like,
100%.
if I see that hit, oh, it's a wrap. I'd be nervous. I'd be scared of shit. Like, it's intimidating seeing those kind of hits. Like, he ain't gonna get ejected in the NFL. Also, he's also not going to get targeted. He's not going to get called for that because he'll get developed. I know it's a bang bang play to begin with, but when you get developed like that right there and you have the chance to master your craft, he's going to lay lumber in the proper ways, not get flagged. He is going to be another, shall I say, LaRon Landry? I would love to say that. I think he has that potential, right?
Yeah.
Hit stick. Boy, is dirty. RIP. Or that was also Sean. No, sorry, that's Sean Taylor. My fault. I'm way off. My fault. Juan.
Yeah.
We have 5 dogs. We have 5 dogs going in the first round. Right? Just night one alone, 5 dogs projected.
Yep.
I would say shatters a draft record for Georgia in first round talent. Right?
Yep.
If we come in Friday and we see that there's 5 dogs taken off the board, what can we take away from that instant takeaway? What would we take away?
Well, first off, again, how good the team was, and just how amazing that team and what they were able to accomplish. But the other thing, if I'm a recruit, I'm looking at that saying, wow, Georgia just broke a record and having 5 guys, possibly 6. Again, you talk about Rudes. I mean, Pickens he could be a sleeper. You never know. You've got 5 or 6 guys. If I'm a recruit, I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's a great formula there that's going on. I want to be a part of it. I want my name called on that first round. Hey, I want to go to Georgia and get coached up by the best in the nation. Man, that's going to be huge for recruiting.
I'll tell you this right now. if you want to look at it this way, there's going to be a sliver of this fan base that claims Jermaine Johnson as well. Because he, in my opinion, he was developed at Georgia,
Yep.
transfers to Florida State, and then betting on himself, more than likely going to be a first round pick. Now, Florida State will probably claim him fair, right? I get it. But the development, right? If you look at his backstory, comes from a JUCO, comes to Georgia, and that's where we really take off, right? And it's also crazy what you talked about, right? Before last season, he transfers to Florida State because he was like fifth in the rotation. And that's just mind boggling to fathom that you have an ACC Defensive Player of the Year transfer out of your program because he's that far down. That's just insane. He would have rotated in. We know it, right? We know this. But at the same time, when you have that team and you have that talent rotating in, listen, and we still got Nolan Smith. We still got Jalen Carter. That's the scary thing because next year we're built to do the same thing potentially, maybe to a slighter degree. Same thing, multiple first round picks.
Yep.
Just a feel for it, right? Obviously, barring an injury or things like that. I'm just saying. You can see five dogs, anywhere from 4 to 6, in my opinion. I think you got 4 locks.
Yep.
Anywhere from 4 to 6. Obviously, if you're one of those guys or one of those fans, 7 with Jermaine, right? I get it. I'm just saying it will not surprise me if we come on here Friday and we're going to toot some red and black horns, right? I would just say so because
Yes,
this is unfamiliar. This is unfamiliar territory with Georgia, right? We're used to getting a lot of guys selected, but you're not used to 4 to 6 draft picks in the first round. It's unheard of.
You're used to hearing about the Alabamas and the Ohio States, having that type of fortune, but here we are. It's
our time. Like it's our time to sit here and do that, right?
It absolutely
and obviously, and we'll talk more about this Friday, but kind of preluding into Friday's show, we're going to talk about the overall depth of this draft and what Georgia has to put into the NFL this year, right? We're going to talk more about that. We've talked about the high points.
Right.
We're getting into meat and potatoes afterwards because there's so much value, right? There's so much value in the next few rounds that Georgia can provide. You look at guys. We didn't touch on Zeus. We didn't touch on James Cook, right? Jamari Sawyer. Hey, your projected number 1 overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson, neutralized by him. Remember, just saying, he can provide some value. Probably guard. Still, he did it at tackle. Just tells you what you need to know.
Right.
A ton of guys we can sit there. Quay and Tyndall, right? Just an overall abundance of talent that we're seeing pushed out. And I would like to believe that we can sustain it coming into this year. You're going to see the Georgia team push out more talent next year. And guess what? It's a revolving door. Now we need to sustain it and keep it consistent. Georgia's right up there where we need to be.
Reload.
Simple.
Reload. So, hey, y'all, just real quick, make sure you guys give us a follow on Facebook, for sure. And I noticed that it's Sanders' birthday in a couple of days on, I think it's Thursday, something like that. So maybe that'll be a situation where you'll deny your and pay more attention to the draft than your actual birthday. So.
Oh man, I know how that feels.
Yeah.
But as always, Juan said, listen, go give us a follow, give us a like on Facebook, find us on Twitter at the DGD Podcast. Listen, you can find anything about the show right down there at the bottom of this graphic here, dgdpodcast.com. Check that out. Got some exclusive interviews that I sat down. A couple of North Carolina kids, Jamal and Jarrett. I think we may know that name. And a kid that you really want to listen to, guys. Juan, he's a receiver. He's up here in McLeansville, near Greensboro. Barry Tate, small guy, 5'9", 175, 180, 4.3 speed. And he just went to a camp this weekend. And I shared it on Twitter. And I'm telling you, the boy can move. The boy can move. Coming to Georgia.
I have to check that out. Hey, the brigade was hopping today for this is exciting when we have so much of this hopping. So many people adding such great things. I'm excited for Friday just to kind of talk about how well the Dogs did. This is what a great day. What a great day.
Absolutely. Listen, we've talked about the past, we've talked about the present, and we're talking about the future to start the show. Now that is a show. That's a show. With that being said, though, guys, make sure check out La Terrain. Use code DGD at checkout to get 10% off your purchase site wide. Also, check out our the Brigade Discord. Also, you can join the Patreon to get some exclusive content in regards to interviews and different intel, things like that right there. With that being said, have a great rest of your day. Stick around for Q&A and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
All right, we are back for Q&A. Guys, what a show that was. Thanks again to the Brigade for coming out hot and heavy. Juan has to leave, so I will sit around for about another 5 minutes and take those questions. There was a lot to talk about today. Juan, have yourself a great rest of your day, my man. Looking forward to talking to you
Y'all
Friday
have a good one.
and recapping this first round. All right.
Can't wait.
All right. With that being said, let's move over to the comments, questions. Get those things ready to go. Get them ready. All right, get them ready. I'll tell you what, though, looking at the draft, it is going to be fun to see. So I'm going to say it's going to be fun to see when you see a lot of red and black. It wouldn't surprise me to see, I would say, 4 in the top 20. Honestly, I feel almost confident that that could be the case. But we all know how drafts can be. Right? We all know how they can be. You got to take it with a grain of salt. Give it a little bit to get some comments rolling if there's any questions. Or listen, it doesn't have to be about the draft. We can talk about we can talk about G-Day. We can talk about other teams, spring games, things like that. I'm okay with whatever. So get those questions and comments ready to go. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for the Brigade for hopping out, showing out. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, let's see. And I'll tell you what though. Um, looking at the attendance on these games, man, it was. I understand Oklahoma had like 75,000, and USC had like I don't know. They said 30,000, but it may be still a fraction. It's so funny. It's so funny. It really is. It's her birthday week. The draft is important, but I'm just saying. It's always important. Focus on yourself. All right. Not seeing a lot of comments or anything like that. Hopefully that means we answered all your comments and concerns. I would like to think so. Listen, Friday, what we'll do, we'll recap the first round, see if we were right? See if we were right and recap the first round. We'll talk a little bit more about that second night and the third night, where guys are going to go. You might not see the graphics because that's a lot of graphics, but it's still interesting to see, where guys are going to go. Obviously, predict night 2 and 3 or round 2 and 3. Sorry, on night 2. It'll be fun to see. Obviously, that Monday we might just recap the entire draft, and talk about what that means. Right? Talk about what it means for Georgia from a program standpoint, recruiting standpoint, just overall different facets of the program. Of this, what does it mean? So look forward to that next Monday. I'm trying to prep that out. Don't see any comments or anything like that, so we're just going to go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, thanks again to the Brigade, hopping in hot and heavy, coming in hot, loving it, love the energy, especially on a Monday. Love it, love it, love it. With that being said, go Dogs, and I'll see you Friday.